Hey, I'm Jasmin Haley, founder of Beyond the Prophy and Legacy Scaler. And for our interview today, we have the incredible Kimone Napier of Hire Breakthrough. We're going to be talking all things HR and things that we should be thinking about as people who are considering transitioning in our careers, maybe starting a business while we are also working a 9 to 5. So I just want to thank Kimone so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I love it. So before we begin, I kind of want to go through what exactly is an HR recruiter or consultant. Like, what exactly do they do?
Yeah, an HR recruiter or consultant is someone that actually has human resources experience. So they've either worked in some capacity in human resources, they have a degree, or they have some type of certification in human resources. And I think the biggest thing is that it brings a different perspectives to people's businesses if they call themselves an HR consultant, because there's just things that you just don't know with the legalities of managing people, payroll, comps, benefits, all those things. And then on the recruitment side, it definitely adds a unique lens because an HR recruiter has an in-depth eye into the recruitment process on the back end. So from the HR standpoint, but they're also recruitment. So they know what it looks like on the front facing end and at the back facing end. And if you're working with somebody who's an HR recruiter, it puts you at an advantage because they have, in-depth knowledge into the industries and into how to, get your application ahead that a lot of recruiters or other people don't necessarily have. So it makes them quite unique.
I love that. And I particularly started off our conversation not going over your accolades because you have done a lot. You've also worked with so many other companies, whether they are 6, 7, 8 figure business owners, whether you're dealing with Fortune 500 companies. Your work has been featured in many different places. And I think that is important for others to know. And you'll be able to read that, everyone, in the show notes. But I also think it's incredible to look at the way in which you look at hiring, which is something that we need as dental professionals to make a shift in. One of the things that is brought out on your website is that you believe that there's people over profit. And when you look at the hiring process, when you work with founders, startup companies, corporate companies, larger corporate companies, you really look at not just hiring to fill a seat, but actually finding the right talent. And so there's strategy that comes with recruiting for these organizations, but also for us on the other end who are looking for further opportunity. So what would you say are like a couple of the things that are missing for many of us who are healthcare professionals, who are people who want to make a deeper impact in our industry, but we're not really sure where to start as far as expanding our wings?
Yeah, I think the first thing that you have to understand is that even as a candidate, your brand makes a very big difference in you getting ahead. And so, me personally, I mean, Jasmine talked a little bit about it, but I have worked in all different formats. Like I've ran my own business. I've also been the candidate, and I've also pivoted industries many times. I've worked in HR. I've worked in operations. I'm an engineer as well, so I carry a lot. But you have to know how to brand the things that you're carrying. So even people who are working in dentistry, if they decide that they want to pivot out of them, that is completely possible. And I think a lot of people think it's not possible, not only in dentistry, but just in any industry. And I'm literally like proof that it is possible that you could pivot out of anything. And so when you keep that lens in mind for companies, usually when they're in the hiring process, it's just like, okay, we're going to put up an ad and we're just expecting people to apply. Whereas the way that I hire and the people that work with me is that it's more intentional. So even for candidates, we want to get to know candidates because we want to, if it's not a fit, I'm not going to push you along and say like, oh, this job is for you if I literally don't think it's a fit, because we're trying to hire for longevity. We don't want to place somebody in a position and they're only there for 2 months, because that's
Mhm.
not going to serve the company or serve you as a candidate. And so it's a two-way street, it's two-way communication, it's a partnership. That's how I look at recruiting. So even if I get a candidate that is really excited about a job, and I may not think they're the best fit for the position, at the time I give them some pointers, like this is what you need to be doing differently, this is what they're actually, you're looking for, do you have this experience? And even if they're not selected, giving them feedback so they know when they go through a process again, whether it's with me or somebody else, these are the things that they need to do. But often that's the broken part of the process, because no one is communicating in the process. Usually it's just everything is just a click of a button. And having that feedback is really important for both businesses and companies, but also for candidates.
I love that. There's a quote on your site where you talk about your core values, and it says, "To handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart." And so I love that. Number one, because the word that kind of sticks out for me right now in our discussion is expansion. And when you go through dental hygiene school, when you go through dental school, we're so focused in on acquiring the knowledge to take our professional exams so that we can just practice clinically. We provide the clinical care. It's pretty monotonous, right? For the exception of like new technologies, new theories that come out, things like that, that we can try out for our patients to improve their health. But it's pretty much relatively, the same thing to expect. And of course, the patients change throughout the day. But there's a point of expansion that is missing for many of us. And you mentioned that. We have to start viewing ourselves as a brand and understand that regardless of our background, there are talents, there are things and skills and experiences that we've experienced that we can leverage. But we
Yeah.
first have to start really thinking about hiring and what you mentioned, which is considering ourselves as a brand. And that requires us to expand in a way that we've never expanded before.
Yeah, 100%. And knowing what you are bringing to the table. I think, sometimes when we're applying for a job, it's just like, okay, I need a job. I'm going to apply for the job. But companies want to know what you're bringing to the table. And you have to be able to articulate that on your resume. You have to do it on things like your LinkedIn profile, your cover letter, your application. You have to really speak to as to why this position is for you. And even if you're trying to pivot industries, you need to be able to do the same thing and speak to why you would be a fit for that position, even if you don't have the experience or little to no experience in whatever field that you're pivoting or transitioning to. So all of that is really, really important. And I think instead of just focusing on, just I'm going to apply for this job, just focus overall on your brand, because you need to be able to build up your confidence and then articulate that. And that's how you're going to get the job, along with the right materials.
Yeah, and you are your best advocate.
Yes.
100%. No one else is going to do that
Yes.
for you. And I realized when I made the shifts, because I've worked in several different places in the dental industry, as well as I built out a business outside of the dental industry. I worked in academia, I worked in public health, I was a consultant, I was a professional speaker. I'm still a professional speaker. I'm doing
Mhm.
consulting work, but now I'm doing consulting work in a whole different arena. And I've been able to evolve through all of that. And I'm grateful that I never allowed what degrees I had, the fact that I had been in dentistry since teenage years, y'all. I've never allowed that to prevent
Yes.
me from going out there and making a difference in the way that I wanted to make a difference. But I think the biggest shift, like you mentioned, was seeing yourself as a brand. And if you're clueless on what that actually means, start investing in yourself by taking courses, by hiring coaches, by getting assistance, because sometimes we're too close to the frame, we're too close to ourselves for us to even think more expansive, or to think wider, or to even see the missing pieces that we may have um,
Yes.
in the way that we're presenting ourselves.
100%. And sometimes we just don't have the time. I mean,
That's
that's the
true.
biggest factor. Think about it. If you're applying for jobs, I mean, you still have a life. And if you're still working and you're applying for things, you have to make time for that. So sometimes
Yeah.
it's best to honestly just get the help when you need it, because you just don't know what you don't know. And if
Exactly.
somebody can come in and just push you, just give you that edge to just push you a little further, it's worth it. And it's been valuable in my career journey and my professional journey time and time again.
I love that. So before we end our conversation, we have a huge announcement to share. So don't get off just yet. But I want to dive into another area in which you're helping other individuals who are interested in being an entrepreneur. Because as you know, I will always emphasize that entrepreneurship is an option. I remember when my mind blew and was like, what? Entrepreneurship is an option for me? So there's
Mhm.
a term called entrepreneur, and I would love for you to kind of define what that exactly means and why that can be an option for some of our listeners.
Yeah, such a viable option. So entrepreneurship is not that different from entrepreneurship, but the difference is entrepreneurship is typically when you're working for somebody and you show entrepreneurial capabilities while you're working for them. Whether it's by taking on specialized projects and things of that nature while you're working for somebody, or when you're working for somebody starting something as your own and you're doing both. So, some people might say side hustle, but I really like the term entrepreneurship because you're doing both. It's not like this is your side hustle. I don't even really like that phrase when it comes to business because it's a business.
Exactly.
You got taxes and all kinds of stuff you gotta do. So that's a really important distinction. But it can afford people so many things because that can also help you to build your brand. It can
Mhm.
help you to build your network. It can help you to accumulate more income because sometimes depending on your industry there might be a ceiling on the amount of money that you can make at the job that you have or in your industry. So if you need to make additional income and you just want to build something of your own, this is a great option for those because there's a lot of people, they love their job, they love the industry that they're doing, but they're passionate about something, there's something that they want to do, and that's what makes entrepreneurship so unique. And so when I talk a lot about this, I think why I like to talk about it is because I've personally been an entrepreneur at stages in my professional journey, and it afforded me so much. It afforded me a lot of freedom and flexibility. And so I say that to say you don't have to choose. If that's something that you want, it's a viable option. You can, of course, be the person, the professional working the 9 to 5 job, working the traditional job. You can be a full time entrepreneur, or you can do both. It really is up to you to choose, but you have these options available to you.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, I love hearing that. And I think it what it does, it takes that level of shame away from folks who are like they want to be hush hush on the fact that they still have a 9 to 5, or I
Mhm.
mean, of course there can be some contractual things that
Yeah.
prevent you from doing that. We want to honor that. We're not telling you to not honor the contract that you signed for your place of employment, but there's a little bit of shame that folks may feel like, "Oh, I still want to work, but I also want to run my business. Does it mean that I'm not successful in business?" No, both of those things could coexist. And so if there's any ideas that you have as a uh, dental professional and you want to pursue them, just know that uh, it's possible. It's definitely possible for you to do that, but just be aware of what your industry needs, be aware of the amount of time, all the other necessary things that are a part of running a business, the marketing, the operations piece. All of those things need to be understood on how you'll be able to maintain joy in your personal life as you
Yeah.
also pursue the business and your 9 to 5.
I think that's the important thing. Like all of this, nothing is a one size fits all solution. So you have to make the
Yeah,
decision and the right choice based off of your individual circumstances. Because I think sometimes everybody's like, well, this is the best way or that's the best way. And it's like, no, you choose the best way that's going to serve you for where you are in your life right now, because life does not look the same all the time. So,
exactly.
the first 10 years look like this, the next 10 years look like this, and so forth and so on. And so maybe you're in a situation right now where you're like, look, I need to make some additional income. And maybe the entrepreneurship route is the right thing for you. Maybe you're tired and you're like, okay, I'm ready to leave this industry and step into full blown entrepreneurship. Whatever it is, you have to just think about your circumstances and then make the right decision.
Yes, yes. All right, y'all. We promised that we weren't going to take too long here on the call. And I would love to have you back here, Kimone, to talk more about your insights with HR and what's happening in the industry with hiring. But, y'all, okay? Me and Kimone have gotten together and have created an incredible offer where you can utilize the skills of an HR recruiter and you can utilize the skills of a business strategist to be able to figure out what your specific needs are for the goals that you want to reach as far as getting your dream career or pursuing other entrepreneurial endeavors or heading out into the space of going outside of dentistry. So we've come together with an opportunity where you can do a resume audit with Kimone, and then you can get 30 minutes with me where I will be able to provide your career coaching and help you be able to understand how to navigate either inside of dentistry or what it was like getting to a place of going outside of dentistry and what it may be like for you. So I would love for you to just speak briefly, Kimone, on what they can expect with a resume audit.
Yeah, so what you can expect is, once you decide, like, okay, this is something that I want to do, you're going to book the time where we're actually going to speak one on one. You'll talk to me and we'll figure out, like, okay, this is what you're actually trying to do. Maybe you're trying to move up in dentistry, maybe you're trying to pivot out of dentistry. So we'll talk about what you can do to actually help you to get to some of those goals. But we're also going to do a resume audit, because this is the thing: no matter if you want to stay in the professional sector of dentistry or you want to pivot out or you want to go into entrepreneurship, you're going to always need a resume. I've even when I'm a full-time entrepreneur, people still ask me for my resume no matter what I'm submitting. So it's very important to have. And so I'm going to do a resume audit where I'm actually going to review your resume and give you pointers of what you need to change, update, and format to make it more attractive to beat the applicant tracking systems, right? Because now with AI and technology, a lot of times when you're submitting your resumes, it's not even getting to an actual human yet. Sometimes it doesn't even get there. So you have to make sure your resume is properly formatted for that. And it's also something to for you to be confident in. Like, this is all that I could put about myself on 1 to 2 pages, and paint a picture, paint a story so people understand like what it is that you're trying to do. And that's particularly important if you're trying to pivot. And so we're going to dive in and I'm going to do that audit and really help you with your resume. And then obviously from there, Jasmin is going to take the strings and just help you because she has, firsthand insight into dental into the dental industry. I'm so sorry. I'm getting tongue twisted. So she has firsthand experience into that industry, and she herself has also transitioned out of dentistry, and it's been webs and flows, and she's done that with very little friction and a lot of ease. So it really is something that I'm so excited that we're actually doing, because I think it's going to offer so much value. Not I think it's going to offer so much value. And yeah, we're saying it like, okay, this is what it is, but they're gonna get so much more than what they probably think that they'll be getting
Oh,
with this collaboration. So I'm so excited about it.
me too. I'm excited because I already know, like, this is the insight I wish I knew. I had to
Yeah,
make a whole bunch of mistakes.
I think we all did.
Make a whole bunch of mistakes, child. And I think, what is most exciting about this is that, regardless of what your specific goals are, we'll be able to support you.
Yeah,
And if you're looking for a resume audit, of course, when you have the resume audit, we can talk about your brand strategy with me personally, and we can talk about how that looks like for you with securing either a position in dentistry or outside of dentistry. The principles are foundational, but there's nuances that sometimes you may not be able to see. And so we want to make sure that you have the support that you need. So I'm going to pop in the site where you'll be able to view this amazing opportunity. Is going to be at beyondtheprophy.com/career boost. And this dental career catalyst boost is going to be just what you're looking for to reach your next level. So we invite each of you to check out that space. If you have any questions, the contact information for my team will be available to you. You're welcome to contact us, ask us any questions as it relates to whether or not this is the best fit for you. But there should be enough information on that sales page for you to understand if you are the right person. You need to be someone that's ready to take action now. This is not something for you to tickle your ears. This is meant for
Yeah.
you to find out what you need to change and to implement immediately. Because the longer you wait, the longer it takes for these opportunities to come to fruition. So thank you so much, Kimone, for being on the show. And I want to invite each of you to head over to beyondtheprophy.com/career boost. And we can't wait to support you in your next career up level. Thanks for coming.
Thank
See
you for
y'all.
having me. Bye, y'all.